I don't want to say that like if you don't do skin to skin with your baby, they're doomed for life. Because I think that moms, if you're with your baby, you're picking them up, you're breastfeeding them, I think what we hoped Bonsie would do was just to, you would look at your baby in it and you would remember, oh, let me just open their little chest out while I'm breastfeeding them and get that kind of those extra benefits. And I mean, so skin to skin was started in Bogota, Colombia in the 1970s when the hospital ran out of incubators for premature babies. And so they were trying to figure out how they can keep these babies warm. So they put the babies on mom's chest. So these were moms that were just gave birth, still in the hospital, and put just a blanket over them so that mom's body heat would warm the baby. And they found that these babies just thrived, did just as well or better as the babies in the incubators, because not only did it keep baby warm, but it helped, stabilize their heart and their breathing rate. They're feeling mom's heart, just like they were in the belly. Higher blood oxygen levels helps baby absorb and digest nutrients better, helps them initiate breastfeeding. It helps mom build up her milk supply, helps baby cry less. I don't know if I said that already. Helps with they experience less pain when they're getting like medical procedures. So if they have to get their like heel pricked or shots and all that. And then the long-term benefits they found. So there have been two long-term studies done on kids who they put in cohorts of getting skin to skin for at least, they were large amounts of time, 6 hours a day for, I think, like the first 2 weeks. And then babies who they didn't tell the parents that was an expectation to. So it wasn't that these babies weren't getting anything, but they weren't told that to be part of the study, you have to do skin to skin for 6 hours a day. And they found these kids 10 years later had improved brain functioning, were less impulsive, had a more reciprocal relationship with their parents, where they found that the mom and kids just communicated better and could kind of figure out what each other needed easier. So it's really, and then the 20 years down the road, they found that it was wild. And don't quote me I know we're on a podcast, but I can give you links to these studies that like the kids who received skin to skin had higher education. They were able to hold jobs for longer periods of time. They were incarcerated less often. And the study really related that back to just that early attachment and attunement with mom, that mom and baby were just able to figure each other out in an easier way right from the start. Also for mom, lower rates of postpartum depression. And so if you're not depressed, you're able to attend to your baby easier and it's less challenging. So yeah, I mean, the benefits are just, they're amazing. And I think we're just learning more and more about them.
Wow. Those studies are so impressive. That's really cool to know. I mean, because a 20-year study, I mean, that's really cool that they've been kind of, playing around with how beneficial skin to skin contact is. So,
and I think it all goes back to like, what do they say? This is the decade of the brain, and that we're really learning that attachment is just the most important building block for development, and that relationship with your mom and dad or whoever cares for you. But we just need it as humans.
Definitely. And I have heard like on the other end, obviously, like, always like holding your baby and taking care of your baby is some kind of contact or skin to skin. But on the other end, like, babies that, don't have, parents around or don't have that connection, or maybe they're, not held as often, it can be hard to have that, attachment as easily.
Early attachment, if you don't receive it, it's one of the things that is almost impossible to make up later in your life. When you think about people with personality disorder, like those kind of character pathology later in life, it's almost always related back to they didn't get what they needed in the first few years of life. And those first few years of life, I think that we're just now kind of realizing are so, so important. And you know, I would say our society does not make it easy for moms to be around their babies.
Right.
um,
Yeah.
we oftentimes have to put them in a daycare where maybe there's 10 other babies that, you know, one or two people are caring for. And not to say that that's going to break your kid forever, but you just need those first few years are so, 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 so important. And it's just it's important to be aware and to be thinking about that when you're thinking about who is taking care of your kid, because you know they need to be attended to.
Yeah. And I'm sure too, like, you know, because yeah, like you said, society doesn't necessarily make it easy for moms. Like a lot of times, you know, we have to go back to work. We have to, you know, have our children in other people's care, but making sure that, you know, when we do get to be around our children, that we're more, you know, maybe present or like have something like scheduled, like skin to skin, or, you know, be present in that time,
Yeah.
in those moments for sure.